Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome to the Friday Night Rock Show, Mr. Graham Gouldman. Graham, good morning, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Very well indeed. Now, I'd like to take you right back to when you were 8 years old, something that I found quite incredible. You wanted to be a drummer at first.
Yes, I did. Yes.
So what happened?
I wanted to be a drummer, but the drums didn't want me. I just wasn't very good at it. But I persevered with it. I actually had some drum lessons from a friend of my parents who used to play with a quite a famous orchestra, the Joe Lott Orchestra. But even that didn't help me. So, but eventually I was bought a guitar when I was 11 years old, and that sort of changed my life.
Brilliant.
It changed a lot of people's lives, Graham, because you wrote so many songs that were soundtracks to people's youth. It's unbelievable.
If you say so.
Well, you know so.
Well, I know, yes. I had a lot of hits, wrote a lot of hits, and that's very nice to hear.
I'd like you to tell us a bit about this Top of the Pops house band that you were in.
Oh, yeah, it was a band called the Mockingbirds. It was myself, Kevin Godley, and two other boys, Bernard Basso and Jacobson, and we used to be the warm-up band for Top of the Pops, which first came from a converted church in Manchester on Dickinson Road, I think it was, and there was an audience there. So I think while they were sort of setting up the cameras, and they needed someone to sort of entertain the audience before the show started, and we used to do it now and again. I mean, a few other bands did it as well. We weren't the only ones.
What happened the day that you saw the Yardbirds playing in there?
You mean at the Top of the Pops?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, well, I don't know, even know if I knew that they were going to be on, but as I said, we used to do the warm-ups for some of the Top of the Popses and in Manchester, and the Yardbirds were on, and it was all rather sort of surreal, really, because, I'd written a song, but we were the house band. It was weird, but very nice.
And you went on to write two more hits for the Yardbirds?
Yes, I did, yes, Heart Full of Soul and Evil Hearted You.
Which we both bought when we were kids and didn't realise who had written them at the time.
I've still got that single in my loft, and I will go upstairs and I'll dig that out and put it on a little frame, I will.
Okay.
Now,
very good.
Graham, I'd like you to take us through some of the hits that you've written for other people that our audience might not be aware that you penned them.
Well, we've already mentioned for the Yardbirds Feel of Heart Full of Soul and Evil Hearted You, but I wrote Bus Stop and Look Through Any Window for the Hollies, and No Milk Today for Herman's Hermits.
I first became aware of this when we saw you with 10cc maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and you did a spot in the middle that were all your own songs that were not 10cc hits.
And it was impressive, I must say. The repertoire was just whoa.
Now, are you still doing that on tour, Graham?
Well, we've actually changed that. What we do now is we are actually our own opening act, in that we do an acoustic set before we do the 10cc set, and that acoustic set comprises of songs that I wrote for other artists that were hits in the 60s, as I've just mentioned, all those songs except for Evil Hearted You, and plus we do a couple of songs from a new solo album, an album called Love and Work, which was released in August.
I'd like you to tell us about this song that you wrote called Ready to Go Home, if you don't mind.
Yeah, Ready to Go Home was a song that I wrote with the late Andrew Gold. Andrew sadly passed away last year, and Andrew and I worked together for many years, but particularly during the 80s, and we had a band called Wax, and Bridge to Your Heart was probably the song Wax will be remembered for. But we carried on working together after that band. We decided not to continue with that. But I'd wanted to write a song about my dad, and I went on a trek in Israel in 1996. My dad died in 91, and I was talking to a friend of mine about that, and we wrote this song Ready to Go Home, which is really about my feelings about sort of accepting the fact that someone you love very much has passed away.
Now, Wax, as you said, best known for Bridge to Your Heart, but you in fact did 5 albums.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I think we actually did 3 albums. There were a couple of albums which were sort of compilations that came out after that. But and working with Andrew was a very, very happy time for me as well. got very, very fond memories of and working with him.
I always thought that he was an absolutely fantastic guitarist.
In fact, Stuart cried the day he died.
Yes, I did.
He did. He cried.
Well, he was I mean, in a way, I'm still coming to terms with that. But one thing I did do was, as well as dedicating the Love and Work album to his memory, there's a song on the album called Daylight, which is all about Andrew.
I was just exactly going to ask you that question about Love and Work. It's just come out, hasn't it?
Yeah, it came out in August. Yeah.
Right. And I have not had a chance to hear it, although I will make a point of it. Is that the first time I discovered intelligent lyrics in music was when I was bought a copy of sheet music when I was changing schools, and a copy of sheet music came out, and they chipped in. It was one of the presents they got me, and I never took that off my record player for ages.
Yeah, well, it's sheet music is probably my favourite 10cc album.
And that was recorded in Dorking or something, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't. No, it was recorded in Stockport.
Oh, I thought you had a place in Dorking too.
Well, we did, but later on.
Oh, right.
We had Strawberry Studios up till 1976, and then we moved. All the boys had actually... I'd sort of stayed up in Manchester, all the other boys had moved down south, and because of that we built another studio.
I know, I used to walk past it most nights. That's how I know. Yeah. It was on the way to the pub.
Right.
Now, Graham, apart from your new album, which I'd like a copy of because we will feature it one night and play 3 tracks from it.
Right.
One of the reasons you're here today with us is because on the 8th of November you're at the Royal and Derngate.
Yes, that's correct.
And that's the one that we want to come down to, and that's the one that we want to get all our listeners to come down to.
It's a fabulous venue as well.
Yes, we played there before. Yeah, it'll be good. It'll be a good night.
Now, Graham, when people say to me, Graham Gouldman, I immediately think of, obviously, 10cc, but when I picture you with one of 2 guitars. It's either a Fender bass or your beautiful Rickenbacker. Yes, and I'm using both of those on this tour. And is that the Rickenbacker that you've had, like, forever?
Well, yes, it's actually the second Rickenbacker I've had. The first one was stolen, along with some other guitars of ours, and we got replacements sort of right away for all the guitars that were stolen, and that one was exactly the same as the first one. And I've had that guitar from 1975, I think.
It's a beautiful guitar.
Yes, it's great, and it sounds great. And a lot of people, it's great because I'm a bit of a guitar nut. So people come up and talk about the guitars and the guitar sound after the gigs, you know, because we actually are sort of after the gigs now, we go out front and sign, you know, people's programs or CDs of ours that they bought.
Brilliant.
And people always comment on the guitars, which I love.
I will be coming to see them most definitely at Derngate.
Yeah, most definitely.
Good.
Now we've got to go on a more casual basis. What are your hobbies? You got any hobbies like cooking or gardening or fishing?
You've just said it, cooking.
Oh, right. What are you cooking?
That's what I have a few signature dishes.
Oh, go on, do tell.
Come on then, come on.
Yeah, because we cooks as well.
Oh, right, okay. I do. I think I've been complimented on my lamb boulangerie.
Ooh, I like lamb.
Yes, and various sort of, I do like basic roast dinners, but I think if you get it right, it's one of the greatest meals in the world.
Not an easy one to do, and a lot of washing up, but you're right. If you get it correct, it's genius.
It's all about timing.
Oh,
making it good and being able to make a decent gravy.
Oh, yeah.
I agree. I couldn't agree more.
You keep all those vegetable juices back and everything, don't you?
Right, Graham.
No, I do it a bit simpler than that, but I'm not going to give away my secrets.
Oh, right.
Secret chef.
We'll ask you at the gig then, we will.
Okay.
Graham, last question for you is something that we ask every rock superstar that we interview. Are you ready?
Go for it.
What is your favourite fish?
I actually like sort of blackened cod.
Ooh, different.
Oh, yeah, because...
Yeah, sort of miso cod you get in a Japanese restaurant.
Oh, I'll make a note of that. Graham Gouldman, blackened cod. Brilliant.
Because some people say they're live fish sort of thing, and some people say the cooked fish.
Like carp? No, I think you are talking about food, aren't you? Fish to eat, not to keep.
Or to look at.
No, to look
Fish
at.
to eat and not to feed.
No, we've got carp ourselves and sturgeon and stuff in the pond. But what do you like visually on a fish?
What do I like visually on a fish? Its head off.
And tail.
Spoken like a cook.
Graham, thank you very much for this interview. Ladies and
Okay.
gentlemen, will you please put your hands together for Mr. Graham Gouldman?
Yep. On the Friday Night
Thank you,
Rock
Graham.
Show.